Kiichiro Toyoda, the man behind one of the world's biggest car brands, worth over $300 billion today. Toyota isn't just any car company. It's known for making great cars that everyone can afford. It all started with a poor Japanese boy, Kiichiro, who faced many doubts and failures while making cars. But what most people don't know about him is that before he started making cars, he actually had the loom manufacturing company in Kosai. Kiichiro always wanted Japan to have its own great car, which could compete with other countries. Today, Toyota produces around 10 million cars in a single year. However, it wasn't easy for him to create such a big empire. So before we get to all that, let's first go back to a small town in Kosai to know about how Kiichiro started Toyota. Kiichiro Toyoda was born on June 11, 1894, in the village of Yamaguchi in Japan. He is the son of Sakichi Toyoda, who plays a big role in the Toyota family. Kiichiro really liked science from a young age, so he went to university to learn more about it. He got his degree in mechanical engineering from Tokyo Imperial University in 1920. After that, he tried studying law for a bit, but he didn't stay in that field for too long. He soon joined his father's business, which is known as Toyota Boshoku. It was a small textile machinery business where he manufactures handmade looms. Kiichiro went on travel from July 1921 to February 1922. He visited places like San Francisco, London, and Oldham to learn all about the spinning and weaving industry. But on his way back home from Marseille, with a stop in Shanghai, he saw some cars there which Japan doesn't have, and he got interested in cars. It might surprise some people, but the Toyota company didn't start with making anything related to automobiles. Sakichi Toyoda invented the Toyota Automatic Model G loom in 1926, which was a huge success in Japan because it could stop itself when a problem occurred in machine. Because of this invention, he started the Toyota Industries Corporation Limited, where he put his son Kiichiro in charge as the managing director. Kiichiro always had this big dream of starting a car business. At the same time, Japan was growing, and he believed that Japan was the perfect place to start an automobile business. But the problem is, his savings are not enough to start a car business. So, when he visited Europe and the USA with his father in 1929, he felt even more sure about his dream. Interestingly, around the same time they sold the patent for their automatic loom to a British company, Platt Brothers. This sale gave them the money they needed to start making cars. Kiichiro decided to start making cars. He didn't know anything about them, not even how to drive. So he went to the USA to learn about cars. He visited over 150 car exhibitions, never missing a single one. Even though he faced many challenges along the way, he never gave up. Finally, in 1933, after learning a lot, Kiichiro started his own car manufacturing division. Kiichiro did something pretty bold. He bought a Chevrolet car and took it apart, piece by piece, just to understand how it worked. It might seem a bit crazy, but he was determined to learn everything about cars, from how they're put together to how each part functions. After 3 years of a lot of studying and experimenting, in 1936, they finally succeeded in making Toyota's first car, the Model AA sedan, which hit the roads that same year. Also, in the same year, Toyota was officially licensed as a car manufacturer under the Automotive Manufacturing Act. Toyota sold their Model AA sedan for 3,350 yen, which is about $220 of 1936. But the great thing about Toyota was that their cars were cheaper than Ford or GM cars. In 1937, Kiichiro moved up to become vice president at Toyota. They were thinking about hiring new designers, but things got complicated because World War II was really getting serious, especially in the Pacific. This war affected not just the company, but also the personal lives of everyone in the Toyota family. Kiichiro Toyoda's company was forced to produce trucks for the Imperial Japanese Army, even though making regular cars wasn't allowed until 1949 in Japan. By 1947, Tensions were rising between the US and the Soviet Union, marking the start of the Cold War. But then, US had a change of heart about Japan. It shifted from punishing Japan to helping it rebuild. This focused on making Japan politically stable, boosting its economy, and allowing some military buildup. In 1949, Japanese car makers got the green light to start making passenger cars again. But at the same time, a new plan to stabilize the economy caused a big money problem in the car industry. Many truck owners couldn't pay back their loans, making things worse. Luckily, the Bank of Japan saved Toyota. They gave them the money they needed to keep going. It was a tough time, but Toyota made it through. In the early 1950s, Toyota again struggled with money. They had to close some factories and lay off workers. Then, the Korean War started. Since Toyota was close to where the fighting was happening, the US Army ordered them to make 1,000 trucks. This unexpected order helped Toyota a lot. Company executives traveled to the United States in 1950, including Kiichiro's cousin, Eiji Toyoda. They went to the Ford Motor Company for training and also visited many other American manufacturers to see how they worked. The Toyota Way and the Toyota production system were created based on what Toyota learned during trips and from making looms. These approaches helped Toyota become a leader in manufacturing. In January 1952, Toyota started working on something big, their very first passenger car, the Toyota Crown. Before this, they used to get other companies to design and make the car bodies, which were then put onto frames made by Toyota for their trucks. This was a big deal for Toyota because they had to figure out how to make comfortable and durable cars that could handle Japan's rough roads all by themselves. But before Toyota could release their first passenger car, something unexpected happened. Kiichiro Toyoda, who worked hard on the company's first passenger car, passed away on March 27, 1952. He couldn't see the success of cars. Then, Eiji Toyoda, cousin of Kiichiro, took over, and after some time spent refocusing development, the Crown was ready to launch in 1955. The Crown got praised by people all around the globe, and even today, Toyota's fancy top-of-the-line cars still have the Crown name. After releasing the Crown, Toyota got serious about selling cars in other countries. In November 1955, they started sending Land Cruiser kits to Latin America. In 1956, to make up for the war, Toyota sent complete Land Cruisers to the Philippines and Myanmar. In June 1957, Toyota opened a new branch in Thailand, and by August of the same year, they started selling Land Cruisers in Australia. The Land Cruiser, a famous SUV, became hugely popular over time. Also, in 1958, Toyota set up its first production outside Japan in Brazil. In the early 1960s, Japan's economy boomed, known as the Japanese economic miracle. People started making more money, which meant they could finally afford cars. Companies like Toyota began selling cheaper cars like the Corolla to meet this new demand. At the same time, the Japanese government spent a lot of money improving roads to handle all the new cars. In the 1960s, Japan began letting some foreign car makers into its market. Toyota wanted to support Japan's auto industry, so they invested in other Japanese car companies before the market opened fully. They bought part of Hino Motors, which made large trucks and buses, and part of Daihatsu, known for making small cars. This move started a long-lasting partnership between Toyota and these companies. In 1981, for some reason, Eiji Toyoda decided to step down as president of the company. Instead, he became the chairman. Soichiro Toyoda, the founder's son, took over as president. Soichiro quickly made some changes. He combined the production and sales parts of Toyota into one. This move led to the creation of the Toyota Motor Corporation in 1982. It was tough for Soichiro to merge the two organizations because they were very different, like oil and water. But after years of hard work, he succeeded. And this paid off big time when Toyota and General Motors agreed to work together. They teamed up to build NUMI, New United Motor Manufacturing Incorporated, in Fremont, California in 1984. For General Motors, teaming up with Toyota was a big deal. They wanted to learn Toyota's smart ways of making cars and get a reliable small car in their lineup. Toyota, on the other hand, saw GM as a partner who could help them understand how things work with American workers. The factory they built together in California was Toyota's first in North America, which meant they could avoid extra fees on imported cars. Around the same time, Toyota won its first Quality Control Award in Japan. This made them confident, and they started joining all sorts of races, including one of the famous rally racing. These races showed off Toyota's skills and made people take notice of their cars. In the late 80s, Toyota launched Lexus, a fancy brand for luxury cars in other countries. Before that, their best cars like the Crown and Century were only popular in Japan and couldn't compete globally with brands like Mercedes-Benz and BMW. Toyota spent a lot of money, over $1 billion, to create and promote Lexus, and it paid off when Lexus hit the market in 1989 with the LS400 sedan, which sold really well. In the 90s, Toyota started making bigger and fancier vehicles like pickup trucks and SUVs, alongside sportier versions of their regular cars, such as the Camry Solara. They also updated their sports cars like the MR2, Celica, and Supra to keep up with the times. These three Toyota sports cars became super famous over time. People loved them because they were exciting to drive and they were less expensive. Back in December 1997, Toyota launched the Prius, which was the first hybrid car that ran on both gasoline and electricity. It started off being sold only in Japan, but soon became popular worldwide. As the 2000s came around, Toyota changed how their cars looked and even got into Formula One racing in 2002. Although some people didn't like the new designs of their cars, Toyota made sure they were super tough, and sales just kept going up. In 2005, Toyota made it to number 517 on Forbes' list of top companies. 2 years later, in 2007, they updated their big truck, the Tundra, which was built in factories in Texas and Indiana. That same year, the Toyota Camry won the Car of the Year award from Motor Trend magazine. And Toyota started building 2 new factories, one in Woodstock, Ontario, Canada, and the other in Blue Springs, United States. Everything was going great for Toyota, but then something really shocking happened, something that had never happened in Toyota's history before. The global financial crisis of 2008 hit Toyota hard, leading to its first annual loss in 70 years. To deal with it, they had to make fewer cars and sell off the ones they had in stock. In January 2009, they decided to close all their plants in Japan for 11 days. But this is not enough. Between 2009 and 2011, another tragedy happened with the company. Toyota recalled lots of cars because some drivers said their cars suddenly sped up unexpectedly. The problem was things like floor mats getting stuck and pedals not working right. Toyota faced legal action, including a $1 billion settlement for a class action lawsuit addressing lost resale value and a $1.2 billion criminal penalty to the U.S. government for allegedly hiding safety defect information and making false statements. Tragically, at least 37 people lost their lives in accidents related to unintended acceleration. Toyota Company, Katsuaki Watanabe, left as president due to the unintended acceleration issue in 2009. Akio Toyoda, the founder's grandson, took over. Akio had been with Toyota since 1984, working in various roles. He became a board member in 2000. But soon after, in 2011, Toyota and many other Japanese car companies faced a series of natural disasters. The big earthquake and tsunami messed up the supplier chain and caused a drop in making and shipping cars. Japanese car makers in Thailand also got hit by serious floods during the rainy season that year. Toyota alone lost about 240,000 cars because of the floods, and another 150,000 cars because of the tsunami. However, Toyota's tough times didn't last forever. By the end of June 2014, they sold 5.1 million cars, up 3.8% from the year before. This made Toyota the global sales leader for the first half of 2014, just beating Volkswagen. With these profits, Toyota could invest in making hybrid and electric vehicles, although they didn't quite catch up to Tesla, but things kept changing. In August 2016, Toyota took over all of Daihatsu's remaining stake, making Daihatsu fully part of Toyota. This move helped Toyota expand into more parts of Japan's car market. During this time, Toyota made their popular cars like the Corolla, Crown, Prius, and Camry even better, which customers loved. They also spent a lot of money researching hydrogen fuel cells for the Mirai car, even when others doubted it. But now, the Mirai can go as far as electric cars on one tank. Although they were slow at first, Toyota caught up with things like self-driving cars and plans to beat everyone else soon. The company is expected to stay successful in the future because of its strong brand image and popularity in many markets like South Asia, the Middle East, and North America. Toyota has a solid reputation for making reliable and affordable cars that last a long time, and this extends to their luxury brand Lexus, which often outsells BMW and Mercedes. Today, Toyota produces around 10 million cars in a single year, generating more than $30 billion in profit. So, whenever you see a Toyota on the road, make sure you remember it all started with a Japanese boy who dreamed of making a car.